Today we have the Marvel Legends Series 3-pack of Psylocke, Nimrod, and Phantomex. I picked up this figure from Kal-El Collectibles. And here is a quick look at the packaging. Up here, bottom, fantastic artwork on Psylocke. And on the other side, we have equally amazing artwork of Phantomex. And on the back, all three of them, just gorgeous artwork on the packaging. And here they are out of packaging, and this set looks amazing. I am so pleased with it and how well it turned out. All three figures are great. I have comments of each one of them, but overall I think that Hasbro did a wonderful job with them. Let's start with Psylocke. Psylocke turned out great. This is not particularly my favorite look of the character in the comic books. This is one of her latter outfits or uniform before the Powers of X or House of X storyline came to pass. I think this was a carryover from her X-Force uniform, and yeah, it's okay. It's comic book accurate, but I'm not a big fan of this look. And if you didn't already know, this figure is just a repaint or redeco of the previously released Psylocke figure that we got a couple years ago. And yeah, they didn't change much. They just changed the waistband. This was the original Jim Lee tassel or sort of karate belt sash, and they've shortened it to this one. It's a white version. Yeah, very true to how she looked like when she was with X-Force, with Deadpool, Wolverine, Angel, and all that. It's basically the same figure. Obvious difference is paint apps, the effects, the psionic blade, the psychic knife, and the telepathic effect is the same mold, albeit one thing going for this figure, in my opinion, I think, is how thick the plastic that they used for the effects this time around. It's slightly thicker, and therefore it holds much better on the figure, particularly the telepathic effect right here. Now they are the same piece, it's the same mold. Difference is this one's much thicker than this one. This one's very light. It loves to fall off the face, but this one just attaches and stays on much nicely, or much nicer than the original one. And even if you put it on this figure, yeah, it will hold much better than this one. This one just, it doesn't want to stay on the figure, unlike this one. And I think it has to do with the thickness of the plastic that they used. The same is true for the psychic knife and the katana, psychic sword katana. I do like it better on this one. Even the colors, I think the colors are more spot on with this new figure. So yeah, overall it looks great. Hardly any mold degradation. The joints still seem tight. They're not as super tight as before. They're a little bit loose, but very minimal mold degradation. Head sculpt looks to be the same. Yeah, just done in a different shade of flesh. The hair is also painted differently. I think this came out much better with a purple and blue instead of this one. It's just like a glossy purple. The head sculpt on this one definitely much better, definitely more Asian looking, more Quanon looking. The lipstick is much better on this one. The eyes are painted nicely on this one, definitely more Quanon looking, since Betsy Braddock, after going through the Siege Perilous, had reincarnated in the form of Quanon, or the assassin of the hand. So yeah. Okay, on to my comments for this figure, and it's got to be the paint apps. What they did was they molded everything in black plastic and they just painted it flesh. Unlike this one, which I think the original plastic was done in flesh or painted in flesh, then they painted the metallic blue over that flesh, whereas this one they did the reverse, which is okay, if it's passable, but it just feels artificial. it feels like she's wearing a black catsuit that has these flesh highlights, and it's not so much like that the catsuit has been cut in strategic places, and yeah, so it's not a big deal. It's not so much of a deal breaker for me. I just think they could have done it better had they done the way of this figure. Also, I thought they would just repack the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive X-Force Psylocke. That would have been better because a lot of the collectors really like this original design of the Psylocke character instead of this new one. And well, yeah, this one's pretty good, but that one done in the X-Force colors would have been much better. I wish they could have just repacked that, and I think that would have made a big difference with this figure. New head sculpt with the original body sculpt from that San Diego Comic-Con. That would have been really great. On to Phantomex, a figure that has been a long time coming for a lot of the X-Force fans, because the original Return of the Marvel Legends Phantomex is I guess pretty much obsolete right now because we've got a new male body mold. Everything about this figure has been recycled except for that brand new head sculpt, the belt with holsters, and his pistols, but everything else has been recycled, which I don't really mind. I think it's the natural, logical course for Hasbro to take, simply because they've gotten so many amazing molds and pieces from previously released Marvel Legends that it would only make sense that you just repaint that and form a Phantomex. Not really, you don't really need to complicate things with this figure. You got the Jamie Madrox jacket, you've got the Shatterstar gloves. The pistols, I believe, have been remolded. I think this is new because the pistols now have these holes, which you can put the Black Widow blast effects. The original pistols had the magazine clip slightly extended like that, so I think this is new. I don't have my old Phantomex figure anymore. The holsters and belt, I believe, are new. Maybe they've recycled the mold for some of these pouches and all that, but it looks to be new to me. These straps are from Cyclops. The whole body mold, arms, torso, legs, are from Cyclops, or the Bucky Cap male body mold, and they've added these. These are just as annoying as the Cyclops figure. But one thing that really sells this figure to me is this really beautifully done new head sculpt. And it's different. It's not a repaint of the original one. It's much bigger. It's got more details on the forehead. I think that they did a wonderful job on this one. And it's great that they molded everything in white plastic except for the boots and the gloves, because all they had to do was paint the black on the white plastic, which Hasbro can really, really nail. And it's not like if had they done it not the other way around, white paint would have destroyed this figure. So well done, Hasbro. I think this one's pretty good. And for some size comparisons, here are what's left of my X-Force team currently. Wolverine, Psylocke, and Phantomex. I don't have my X-Force Deadpool anymore. I've sold off that San Diego Comic-Con X-Force pack. I don't have Warpath either or Nightcrawler. So this is my X-Force team, and yeah, they look great. They're gonna look great on the shelf, and I kind of wish somehow Hasbro would start re-releasing that original Psylocke from the San Diego Comic-Con and that Archangel, so we can have a proper X-Force display. And on to the gem of the set, Super Sentinel from the future, Nimrod. Oh my goodness, this figure came out great. I'm so glad they sold it as a 3-pack instead of having him as a Build-A-Figure. I love this guy. Absolutely gorgeous. The plastic that they used was a pearlesque type of white, which came out beautifully. He's got this clear red, clear magenta, I guess, or neon magenta type of backpack, which has his wings. In the original Nimrod, in the classic comic books by John Romita, Claremont and Byrne, I don't think he had this. I don't remember. Somebody let me know in the comment section. I do remember seeing this backpack for the Powers of X comic book and House of X storyline. So it's great that they're sort of combining the classic and the modern take on Nimrod. I love that despite this huge sculpt, they gave him still some amount of articulation that will allow you to render him in various poses. The head obviously has been popped off so that he can turn his neck left and right, though he doesn't need to do that. I just wanted to do that for effect and to get him in a pose. Speaking of the head, he does come with the classic head sculpt as well. And here's a close-up look at both head sculpts. There's really no articulation. They just pop onto the body, and I actually like the classic version of his head. The later one, the more modern one, looks great as well. I love that pearlesque type of silver that they put on the face. Both head sculpts look amazing. A bit of quality issue right there on the paint, but it doesn't matter. Very minor. Passable for me, very forgivable. I think both head sculpts turned out phenomenally. I love it. Also, he's got two pairs of hands. He's got these fist hands, and he's got these blasting hands, which came with these removable blast effects. And I think by far this is one of the best blast effects I've seen that Hasbro's done for their Marvel Legends. And look at this. It's got that spiraling energy on top of the huge energy blast. Like, so really cool. You can plug it in right there and you can blast some X-Men. Nimrod. X-Men will be terminated. That's not his voice. I just made that up. Put that on right there. So very cool. In terms of articulation, like I said, the head doesn't really move. The torso can move up and down a little bit and can move slightly left and right. I don't want to force the issue. I don't want to force it. I think it can still move a little bit further, but this is what gives for this figure. Just some ratcheting joint, a slight ratcheting joint that makes the torso go like this, and then like this. That's it. The shoulders. Very nice. The shoulder pad has been attached with a ring on that entire shoulder hinge joint, so it rotates together with that shoulder, with that deltoid. Very nice. You go in and out. Bicep swivel, hinge elbow, it ratchets. Wrist can go in and out and swivel. The hips, very minimal articulation. I wish they could have gone further forward and backward and in and out, but the sculpt just really prevents it. And Nimrod doesn't really strike too much of a fighting stance. He just stands up and just decimates all the mutants and all that. Thigh swivel, double hinge knees, very cool. No calf swivel, and the ankles, I think they're on a ball joint. I can't be too sure. Maybe a ball and a hinge. They can go left and right ever so slightly. You can go up and down a little bit as well. Rocker joints, not really present. There's hardly any articulation for the ankles, so the most you can do with it is just stand like a standing pose, just like that, and not really too much of a running pose and all that because of the restrictions on the ankles. Overall, completely happy with this figure. And just before I forget, speaking of the hands, the Psylocke did come with an extra samurai gripping hand, which I forgot to mention. And yeah, all the figures looking terrific from this set. And so some final thoughts on this 3-pack. I think it's an amazing set. I did have some issues with the paint-apps for this Psylocke figure. I wish it could have been, they could have used the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive figure and just repacked it with the new head sculpt and the remolded effects. That would have been perfect. Very minor issues with Nimrod and Phantomex. I think the set deserves a 9.5 out of 10. It is an amazing set. If you are an X-Men fan or fan of the mutants, for Marvel Legends, you have got to pick up this set. Do not pay too much for this set. I think the price ceiling should be $110, and that is it. Do not pay more than $110 for these figures, or for this 3-pack. Let me know in the comment section what you think of this set. Do you agree with me? Is it something you must have? Is it a pass for you, or is it a wait for clearance kind of thing? Let me know in the comment section, and as always, hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. If it's your first time here, please subscribe. And if you want to help the channel out, please check out my Patreon account. There's a link in the description box below. Thanks for watching. And here is a quick look at the packaging. This figure looks really, really amazing. Oh, and he fell down. I jinxed it.